So you put 60K into crypto and you got hacked and you lost everything. How did you feel? We've been working together now for about 4 months and you've done 5 property deals?
We had a £500 booking come through just as we were driving up today.
And this flip that you're doing, so how much are you buying it for?
It was on the market for 270 and we secured it for 235.
And then the end value?
So the valuation came in at 370.
I love the way you just dropped £500 like it's nothing. And out of the 4 then, what's the sort of profit at the moment?
Between 2.5 and 3 grand.
I remember saying, talk to me, what's going on? And you were saying, look, is there anybody that's freaking out? And I said, who said that? Sarah. Speak up, Sarah. And I remember saying to you on that call, in about 3 months, you're going to be on Winners on a Wednesday. So thank you for coming to my house. We've been working together now for about 4 months and you've done 5 property deals?
Yes, we've got our 4th rent to SA. We secured that last month actually. That went live this month and we're just in the process of purchasing property as well.
Which you're going to flip?
Correct, yeah.
So I'm really excited. You're making a full-time income from property now?
Yeah, I'm still working full-time actually, but your income's replaced. And in the meantime, I'm working just so we can just accelerate our growth, I think, more than...
Well, what I wanted to do in this interview is pick your brain on what you've done, how it's happened, go through the struggles, because I know there've been struggles, challenges of running the portfolio, and hopefully people will learn about how to get into property. So what was your first deal that you did and how did you secure it?
That was the apartment in Leicester City Centre. It was a little studio apartment, which we still got. After going on all your training and stuff, we approached them through Open Rent. And through some discussions and negotiations, she agreed to meet with us, understanding that we wanted a company let. And then, yeah, she met us and she asked all the questions and objections that she had, and she was happy with the arrangement, and we secured it there and then.
Yeah.
And then you very quickly got another one and another one and another one, and then freaked out. And as I said to you before, off camera, I want to hear the good, the bad, the ugly, everything. So was it easy getting the deals or did you struggle? Did you breeze that part?
I think for us, when we meet people in person, it's a lot easier for us to secure that deal.
And you got good jobs, so there's no problem with referencing.
Yeah.
Because some people trying to get rent to rent, they've got no credit, they've got no income, and they find it near impossible. Of course, it is possible, but for you breezed that. That was nice and easy.
Yeah, we were really lucky actually. The first house, the flat that we took on, she didn't even ask for a credit search or anything like that. There's no guarantee or anything like that. I think she tested the model herself before, just didn't have time for it, and she was happy for us to kind of take it on.
That's interesting.
And equally, we had a little bit of experience with service accommodation because we ran a couple of rooms out of our house. We just refurbed the house anyway, so it was all nice and fresh. So we thought, well, why don't we just put a little bit into it, rent a couple of rooms out and see what they do. And they were really busy actually, so we knew there was demand in the area.
Yeah.
And that gave us credibility to say, look, we understand the model, we know how to do it, we do this already.
Yeah.
And then that helped us, I think, secure it.
And you were originally from Scotland and you were born and bred in Hong Kong.
Yes.
Now living in Leicester, and you actually met, ironically, at a property course. Not with me, but a few years ago at a property course. So that was kind of the common link. What was it about property that made you want to get into it? What's the reason?
I think it's a few reasons actually. I think the financial security that comes from it as well, building assets, and I wasn't obviously married or anything or had kids at the time, but I was very close to my parents. So I just wanted to give them that kind of secure future whilst being able to spend time with them as well. As a chartered accountant, I was just spending hours and hours at work, and I wanted to kind of step away from that. And equally, I think I I came to a point in my career where I was like, actually, I'd like to try something different. So there was a bit of that. But there's an interesting story around that as well, which is why we've come back to property now 4 years later. But I'll let you.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it's the very similar reasons: financial security, being able to give back to your parents, being able to help in their retirement and all that sort of stuff. But equally, I just wanted to build my own dreams rather than working for somebody else and building theirs for personal growth, I guess, as well.
Yeah, yeah. And when you started out on the property journey, I mean, you're an accountant, so you're a numbers. What type of accounts?
So I've done financial accounting, but very much corporate background. So I've worked with big companies generally.
What when you first heard about the rent to rent model, did you think yes straight away? Were you a bit skeptical about it? Where were you at when you first heard the whole process of how it works?
I think we were a little bit skeptical. It's just hard to believe that, when someone's paying you a secured amount of rent, you're like, how can you top that? How can you make more money from just the normal 1,200 that you pay in rent every month? But
yeah.
We were actually following a couple of people on Instagram that were doing in the US, but we'd never actually seen anyone do it in the UK before. And I was like, maybe it works in the US, but not in the UK.
And you promised yourself when you came to the £1 event, you promised to each other that you wouldn't register for any advanced training.
Yeah, we did.
What happened?
I'll be honest with you, Samuel, like, I think just watching you in person made a huge, huge difference. Like, we were at that point where, like, we're not really trusting anyone, I'll be honest, within property, but you just come across as a very, very genuine person. And I think it was more that you just, when you just connect with people and you're just like, you know what, I see something, this person actually genuinely wants to help. And we're like, it's hard to trust sometimes, but.
And then you ended up going the full hog, went on to the academy. Talk to me about, I hope you don't mind me asking you about this, but you had a bit of a wobble. When you just joined the academy, you'd shelled out a huge amount of money. You just put even more money down on getting some rent-to-rents. And then you were like, I don't know if this is going to work. I don't know if I want to do this. And that was a serious, and we spent obviously a lot of time on the phone with you, on the masterminds. We talked a lot and you were very open. And I remember saying on the mastermind, be open. If you've got a concern or a problem or you're worried, or talk about it. Let's deal with it. And I know you spoke to Tony a lot. And could you talk through a bit about what happened?
Yeah, well, we not long secured the first one and it was running live, and we're like, we're not getting a lot of bookings. And then we were in the process of securing the second one, which was a bigger step up because it was a 4-bedroom house. So the rent was more expensive, the bills were more expensive, and we're like freaking out. I don't know, after speaking to you and then Tony, and then I remember you asked us to share it on the mastermind, so we did. And then the very next day we got a booking for like 12 nights.
I remember saying on that mastermind, talk to me, what's going on? And you were saying, look, is there anybody that's freaking out? Or is there anyone that's not getting bookings that's really concerned? And I said, who said that? Sarah. Speak up, Sarah. Do you remember? Yeah. And I was like, talk to me. And you spoke up. And I remember saying to you on that call, in about 3 months, you're going to be on Winners on a Wednesday. I called it. I said, it's normal because it was, I think, February sort of time, very bad season. You had 0 reviews. So to have a slow start, it's normal. This is part of the business. And we obviously worked with you through that. Yeah. And thank God it picked up very quickly. Yeah. And then you ended up getting a lot more properties.
Because the interesting thing about that period was it was only me that joined the academy.
Right.
And then we went through that little panic phase. And then literally a month after, like, Brendan's joining. So we'd obviously built that confidence up. And
it's so funny because Tony said to me, he said, Sarah on the academy, he goes, I think we might need to give her a refund, because she's a little bit, I'm not, he goes, I'll have a chat with her though.
Yeah.
And we'll see. But he goes, she's got so much potential and she's got this property. And I was like, all right, cool, talk with her. And then you were at the dinner. And then Brandon was like, I'm joining the academy too. And he just suddenly took a massive U-turn. I was so happy about that. What did you do you think, to turn things around a bit on there? Or was it just a case of you were just nervous that it...
I think just because I spent literally tens of thousands at that point in previous property courses, I think it was just fear more than anything. We're taking the plunge in the heat of the moment. And then I was like, oh, what if it's a repeat of what happened last time? And that's, I think, where the fear came from. But then actually speaking to Tony as well, and, just everyone that reached out actually at the time, there's just a lot of support. There really is. And even you just, addressing that issue personally with us on that mastermind really helped, because it just shows that there's help at hand. It's not like you're kind of left to your own device and then you figure it out yourself. Like, there's people there to support you.
Yeah. And not only that, when you raised the issue that week, the next week you followed up with us to ask how it was going, what's changed. Mm-hmm. And that for us in a room or a Zoom call with 200 people on there, that stood out for, well, certainly me, but I think Sarah as well, that he actually cares and he takes notes and he listens and he wants to make sure everyone's...
We obsess over the academy members. We're obsessed. Suffocate people into success. And for us, when people register for the academy, that's the beginning. It's not like, oh, right, okay, cool, they've registered, now our job's done, let's go and run the crash course. That's the beginning of the journey for us. Obviously, I'm not perfect and we're not perfect. And there is struggles in the business. And there's genuine, when you run the property business, there is highs and lows. But no, it was great to see that the day after things suddenly picked up. Since then, you got quite a few more properties. So where are your portfolio? I know you've got some in Leicester, but you've also got some in the Matlock area, right?
Correct, yeah. So we've got 2 in Matlock right now, which are more holiday lets. And then like I said, we secured one last month in Leicester. So we've got 2 in Leicester now. And the one we did last month, well, we secured it last month, went live this month. We've done that on a room by room basis, like with the locks. Kind of HMO style, but not so much HMO. And that's been getting consistent bookings. So when we're looking at our financial numbers right now, we actually reinvested a lot of our profits back into this fourth essay.
Right.
But touch wood, we had a £500 booking come through just as we were driving up today, actually.
That's awesome. It's not bad, is it?
Yeah, it's not.
Are you still working full time, or have you quit your job?
So I was working full time, and then I left to go self-employed last year. But I'm stopping that now. We've made the decision now. That's full-time property.
Respect.
Thank you very much for that.
And this flip that you're doing, talk to me about how you found it.
It was a funny one, actually. It was a very dilapidated house in Matlock again. They wanted to focus on the holiday let market, actually. We just went for a viewing just to see how there was like flood issues and things like that. But then as soon as you walked out, because I was taking calls for work in the car at the time, so I couldn't do the viewing, you were like, it's a really good house. So you went in, we booked a second viewing and negotiated the price. The funny thing is, actually, shout out to is Liam Taylor, isn't it? Yeah.
Legend.
Yeah, he basically booked that same day you had the viewing. He wanted to come view one of our estates in Matlock, actually, because I think he operates in that area as well. And we were just speaking to him about this house, and he was like, just put an offer in, put a cheeky offer in. And we were like, that's a bit low, but I don't know if they'll accept. We literally put an offer in that same day, and we secured it like a couple of days later.
So how much are you buying it for?
So it was on the market for 270, and we secured it in the end for 235. We probably could have negotiated a bit more, but I think we kind of met them halfway just because they're trying to move on with their lives as well. So we're like,
so you're going to buy it for 235, and then what's the vision?
Well, initially we wanted to convert to flats, but unfortunately the valuation came back way lower than it should have been, and the build cost went way higher than it was meant to. He quoted us one figure and then more than doubled it when he got to see the drawings and stuff. So that was a learning curve for us, but we've always got the option to turn it into a house. So we have the valuation of it turned into refurbing it as a house now. So
you're just going to just refurb it, do it as a nice house. How much will that cost?
So we've been quoted about 60k to refurb it.
So you're going to be talking about 295-ish.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And then the end value?
So the valuation came in at 370, and we actually think that's quite a conservative value considering other houses that's sold in the area.
And the plan is to sell it? Is that the plan? Make a little bit of a chunk of cash? What are the pros and cons between because you're doing rent to rent, where you're making quick cash flow. What's the pros and cons, would you say, between doing flips and between controlling properties?
I mean, controlling properties is your day-to-day cash flow. It's all your monthly expenses, I guess, your wages and that, Whereas the flips are your big cash injections, your bigger projects, and it opens more doors for sourcing BRRs for people as well, because you've already done ones yourself. Mm-hmm. So it gives you proof of concept and how to manage a team in that area and how to find teams and build teams. Yeah,
I'd say like the flips and refinancing properties in the future, that's like the longer term goal. Mm-hmm. We want to own more properties and have them, even if running as essays, but own them ourselves. Whereas rent to essays, great cash flow strategy. Like it's enabled Brendan to just step away from,
Per property, what are you making? Like what are your properties making?
So the flat, we're not making much of a profit. I think there was 1 month we made £600. From that, I think this month we made about £400. It fluctuates a little bit. Yeah. And then in Matlock,
I love the way you just struck £500 like it's nothing. but to be fair, we teach if it's making less than £500, don't do it, because then if you have a problem, if you have some bad months in the winter, you don't want to be subsidising out of your own pocket. So £500 is kind of like the bottom end.
Yeah, for sure. And then for Matlock, we're making at least £1,000 per property, I would say. But that's fluctuated a bit. We made 1,500 one month and then £2,000 from one of them. Yeah, so
£2,000 profit from one of the properties.
Yeah. We were quite lucky with that one, actually. It was all fully refurbished, ready to go. So yeah.
And out of the 4 then, on average, what's the sort of profit at the moment?
Well, because we've just taken on the 4th one, we haven't included that because it always takes a little bit of time to get going. Although we've just pretty much covered bills this month with that 2 bookings we got on the way down here. But I would between £2,500 and £3,000.
How would you say over the last sort of 4 months or so, from really going out full time into property, making loads of new friends, how would you say you've changed or grown as individuals?
Yeah, for me, it's definitely like a big confidence boost, and my mindset's totally shifted to where maybe I was skeptical and didn't really believe in myself to be able to do it. Now I'm like, I know it's possible. I can see the money coming in. We're a really good team. If this is what we've done in 4 months, what can we accomplish in 3-4 years? So for us, it's massive. Well, for me anyway, it's massive.
Yeah, and I think for me, it's when you're in a job as well, sometimes you just feel like this is it for you. Like there's no other avenue to kind of like make money or like have that financial freedom, just to be able to travel and do things like that. I think this is just showing me that actually there is still a way out, you know.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's
Well, you do really well. I mean, making that sort of money in a short amount of time, it's impressive. And you've not even really invested that much. I know you've got your flip now, but the rent to rent's been very low.
yeah, the relative.
How much money were you putting into the rent to rent, like per rent to rent on average?
I think the latest one is probably one of our most expensive ones. Like we put $7,000 into the one that we've just converted on a room by room basis.
Yeah.
But there was extra expenses for that because we're doing it room by room basis, so we've got the locks and
What
stuff
about
to
the first
consider.
one that you did?
It was less than a couple of grand, I think.
Yeah,
So very small.
yeah.
And actually the third one that we got, because the guy was going travelling, it was only initially meant to be a 6-month thing because he was going travelling for 6 months. I just wanted someone to look after his house and give him guaranteed rent, and he liked us and met us. Well, we didn't put anything into that because it was all fully furnished, already running as an Airbnb before that. So all we had to
Okay.
do was pay the rent and a bit of a deposit, and
That's our highest cash flow house actually.
So
So
there's no money down.
no,
And in cash flows, what did you make last month on that one?
that's the one we're making about $2,000 on. Yeah,
Wow.
yeah.
That's incredible. Where are you finding these rent to rents?
All of ours so far have come off open rent.
Right.
But we are looking to start speaking to estate agents now as well. Yeah.
So they've all been landlords direct. And that's why they weren't asking you for any references, because they just liked you and trusted you. What would be your top piece of advice for people wanting to enter into the property market but are a bit unsure how to get started?
I would say just find someone who's done it.
Yeah.
Join a mentor program if you have to, but if not, shadow someone that's done it, learn from them, and or JV with someone who's doing it.
Yeah.
And you bring something to the table as well. Maybe you bring the money to the table, but you want to learn the process from them. Partner with people that have done it and it can help you.
Yeah, I'd say JVing is probably one of the best ways to do it. We're quite keen to do that ourselves now, actually. Just keep growing, but at the same time, we'd love to share our knowledge. Actually, we're actually just doing an open house for our recent essay, for our Leicester group, actually
exciting.
Midlands group. Yeah, we're just gonna do a little buffet and just like everyone come
Really
over and
cool.
have a look to see how we do it and stuff.
Yeah, that's really cool. And you're off to Bali for a month.
Mm-hmm.
So that sounds exciting. Are you planning on doing any property deals while you're out there, or?
We want to look at some land actually there.
Okay,
Yeah.
you guys are dark horses, so there was some massive announcement probably.
No, we're definitely, if anyone wants to get involved in Bali, we're definitely open to it
Oh,
while
you've
we're
got
there.
things, okay.
We want to maybe employ the rent model there, but also develop
Interesting.
there.
And Brendan, how did you justify the decision to join the academy after Sarah had? Like, what happened there?
I just knew it was the right room to be in, the right network to be in. That I recognised the support because I was obviously sitting in the academy calls with Sarah when I wasn't in it initially, but sitting, and I just recognised the support and I knew the value of being in that network.
Yeah.
Where else can you get into a room where 400 other people all want to strive for the same sort of thing, you know?
Yeah. What is the best way if people want to connect to you guys? What's the best way to get in touch?
I've got an Instagram page set up for the sourcing company, but equally, if they're on the academy, reach out via our mobile numbers. I always respond to WhatsApps and stuff. So
Cool. Well, we'll put your Instagram in the description. And it's been amazing to see your journey and your process. And I know this is just the beginning.
Yeah, no, we appreciate everything you've done for us as well, Samuel. Honestly, it's been I wouldn't have had the confidence to carry on as far as we have done. Even just doing the flip, to be fair. Like we invested in some crypto last year and like lost literally again tens of thousands, which was a bit of a crushing defeat, wasn't it? So it was
Oh,
hard
yeah.
to start.
Crypto's been a bit tough, hasn't it?
Yeah, I actually got my wallet hacked as well.
Oh, I had the same thing happen to me.
Did you actually?
Yeah, I didn't lose loads. I lost about $5,000. How much did you lose?
60K.
Oh, ooh. Okay,
Yeah.
that hurts. So you put 60K into crypto and you got hacked and you lost everything. How did you feel?
It was weird because they hacked into my email and then they Snapchatted you after resetting my password saying, "Oh, we've just stolen all of your girlfriend's assets." And he was like, "Are you having a laugh with me? Like, is this a joke?" And I went into my wallet and
Why did they write to you afterwards?
just to rub it in our face that they'd stolen everything from Sarah.
yeah,
That's sick.
It is sick, yeah.
they did it overnight as well. So I didn't realize my passwords were being reset in my email,
And the police just aren't interested, are they?
Can't do anything, it's crypto.
which is one of the reasons we've gone back to property as well, actually, because like we just want to be able to see our assets. You know, like if they're invested in places like that, you just don't know. They're never secure.
Yeah, that's rough, man. I'm sorry. I didn't even know that. So I can see now why you were a bit timid about the property stuff. How did you feel when you saw the money coming in from property?
Initially, we were just like, we were apprehensive, weren't we, when we first went live? But like, honestly, just seeing those bookings coming in, like when we were in Poland last week, our place was just being booked out. We had cleaners set up and like the whole power team's there. So we just didn't even have to get involved. It was just crazy. It's weird to think there's a way to make money like that, you know, like.
How do you feel now, looking at what you've achieved in the property side of things? How does it feel?
I think it's slightly surreal that in 4 months we've replaced my wage and the business is continuing to grow. We now have the network and the skill set to be able to grow it even further. And 4 months is not a long time at all.
So we just want to see where we end up at the end of this year. I think we could.
Well, I'm excited. And if there's anything you need from me personally, anytime, drop me a message. We're here for you guys.
Thank you.
Well done on your success.
Thanks very much.
Thank you, Samuel.
Welcome.